All right, our next author is Dominic Colvert, who is author of Venture into the Stratosphere, Flying the First Jetliners.
Hi.
Venture into the Stratosphere is a memoir about the exhilarating and challenges in flying the first jetliners. How
Hi,
are you
Kendra.
today?
I'm doing well.
Fantastic. The stories told within your book are based on your personal experience or from observation.
Personal experience.
Personal experience.
Yes. I had three distinct reasons for writing this book.
Mm-hmm.
And the first got to do with history. So the book is a history of what we did. It's of my personal experience. But the inspiration to do it was on account of I wanted my grandkids to be able to read the history. We've all heard how man is a rational animal. Well, there's a wise Frenchman who says that we're historical animals. And so the decisions we make today and which we will make tomorrow are basically on our history. Who are we? And I wanted my grandkids to know who they were. Now, as I got into it, my motivations changed a little bit. I realized that people fly every day. I understand there's about 8 million personal journeys in the United States alone every year. And most people don't know what goes on on that airplane. They have no idea what's behind that locked cockpit door.
Mm-hmm.
So I maintain, as I say here on the back, if you read these, it'll make all of your flights fascinating. You'll know what's going on behind the cockpit door and so on. In fact, when I came in here today, I talked with Cindy, the VP, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she tells me she's nervous about flying. And I try to reassure her. And this is, I think, very typical of people. But if you look at the stats, it says getting on an airplane is no more dangerous than taking the bus downtown.
Oh.
Well, that's where it is. But in 1950s, when I started, there was an entirely different story. It took a certain amount of courage to book that airline flight. I would think there was a disaster worldwide maybe about once a month in those days. Nowadays, I think in 2017, there wasn't a single fatal accident in all of the world in terms of flying. How did that come about? Well, that's the interesting thing I think you find here. If you ask most people, even people who are maybe pilots or airline personnel, they'd probably tell you about the wonderful technology, mm-hmm. new engines, jet engines, and so on and so on. But it really came about for another reason. Why are the airline flights safe? Well, it's because accidents that didn't happen. You can't measure those, right? Mm-hmm. But the reason why they don't happen is not technology, but communications. And there's, in fact, as we describe in here, crew resource management, so that the crew acts as a group, as a unit, rather than under the old militaristic style where you had somebody who told somebody else and everybody knew their own job. And with the improvement in communications, that's how the safety became so terrific.
So communication is one of the topics. What other topics do you cover in this book?
Well, essentially, I think it's an odyssey. That's my third motivation in writing the book, is my life for a number of years while I was flying was, I would say, an odyssey over 5 continents, different countries, and working with different people. I think everybody loves a travel story, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So that was the third reason for writing the book. It's an exciting travel story. And of course there were dangers and the times we nearly didn't make it and all those kind of exciting things. But
that's an action
I'm here.
Yes, absolutely. And for our viewers at home, how can they connect with you?
Well, I have a blog, and surprisingly the name is Venture into the Stratosphere. And so you could do that, or you can send me an email. My name is down here, and DominicColvert@gmail.com. I'd be happy to respond to anybody who would send me an email. And good.
Awesome. Congratulations on the book. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.